Hello there everybody. So today we're going to be learning about React.js and how to get started developing in React. Good for you. We are going to assume that you know absolutely nothing. We're starting totally from square one and give you all the tools that you need to start developing. The first thing you need to do to begin with React is you need to install something called Node.js. You can do that by just going to the Node.js website, clicking this, and then downloading it onto your computer. What exactly is Node.js? Node.js is this tool that allows you to run JavaScript server-side. What that means is that when JavaScript was invented in the 1990s, it was designed only to run in the browser. Yet when they invented Node.js in 2014, it pulled JavaScript out of the browser and you could now run it on your server. In this case, we're just using it to run our React app locally so we can begin developing, but long-term down the road, you can use it for things like REST APIs. It's a pretty magical system. Once you have that installed, the next thing you're going to install is something called Yarn. What Yarn is, it's a package manager. Now, Node.js comes with its package manager natively. It's called NPM. However, it is egregiously slow. So to speed things along, we use Yarn, which in the background, I think it's using Hadoop or something like that. And that's going to speed up your process a lot in terms of getting started with your React app. The way you install it is, as opposed to a click download, you have this command right here. Just execute that in terminal or command line and you'll get Yarn installed globally on your computer, right? Once you have Yarn installed, what we're going to do is we're going to make a new folder. So find a folder of your choice, mkdir my project folder. You're going to cd into that new folder. And once you're in there, you are going to run a command. It's going to be yarn create react-app and then the name of your app, so my app. Now this is going to do something very, very interesting. With React, there comes a template called a create React app. What create React app does is it gives you a boilerplate to start working right away on a React application. Now, if you were working on React right out of the box, as in you were just opening up an empty folder, putting together a React project, there's quite a bit of configuration you have to do. You have to install something called Babel, Webpack, get set up with that. Chances are that you probably don't feel like doing that or learning that right now. So we're going to save ourselves a lot of time and then go right to a create React app. There's a couple downsides to this going forward. It is not something I'd recommend for large projects. You probably want to use something like Next.js down the road. However, it's perfect for what we're trying to do right now. So once it gets all of its dependencies installed, we're good to start working. Nice. Okay, we just finished up over here. Now that we have a project, we're going to cd into that new folder, the my app folder. What I ask that you do is then open the development environment of your choice. In my case, I'm using VS Code, a very, very close, trusted friend. And you're going to see lots of these new goodies that are Create React app built for us. The source folder, public folder, node modules. These all will have a lot of significance down the road, but we will talk about them later, so fear not. The way that we're going to launch our app is open up a terminal in VS Code and then run the following commands. Yarn start. This is going to run this React script start, and it's going to launch a server to run a React app locally. Now, typically when you go to a website and you see a React app, it's hosted on the URL, but in this case, it's just on localhost 3000. And whenever we update our code, this localhost will automatically reload with our changes. And this is our development environment for local. So now that we have that open, we're going to dive into the meat of it, which is inside the source folder. At the core of it, we have something called app.js. This is really where you see all of the action happening. So if we go back to our thing, we see edit source app.js. We see this slightly off-center rotating React logo. That all lives inside of this app.js, source app.js. You see it all right here, right? Now, if you're coming from an HTML, CSS, JavaScript, vanilla world, right? This should all look a little bit familiar. You can write HTML tags, for example, h1, hello, world, and boom, we got it. Just like regular HTML. However, this is not HTML. It is slightly different. And you'll notice if you look closer, you see a couple of weird things like this. What this is a language called JSX, which is a React-specific language that merges together the amazing functionality of JavaScript, lets you write HTML in it. It's kind of like a template engine mixed with JavaScript. It's really, really cool functionality. And it summarizes the magic that is React. It's something that allows you to change and update the DOM seamlessly with very little code and very little effort. And this language allows us to do that. The way that we're going to do that is we are going to first import React from React, which gives all the great functionality that comes with the node modules in React. And we're going to do something called const. We're going to call this number. We're going to call this set number equals react.useState, and we're going to start it out with 0. What is this and what's going on here? Now, number is just a variable, right? In the same way you would define let number equals 4, number is just a variable that we're starting with 0, okay? What set number is a function that allows us to update number, okay? So you can think of it almost like a reassignment. And that's what React useState is doing. It's giving us two values. The first one is the state itself, the value that we want to use. And then the second one is a function that allows us to update that value, right? So now that we have these values, we can pass that value directly into our render part of the JSX, the part that looks like HTML. And the way that we do that is by using these curly braces, which lets us write JavaScript inside of it. And in this case, our variable, our state, is called number. If we press save, guess what? We're going to see a 0 right here. Now what we're going to make use of is the set number function. The way that we're going to use that is we're going to make a button. We're going to call this click me. And on the button, we're going to run a function. Now, if you're used to HTML, you're probably used to this kebab case right here. But instead, we're going to use the camel case on click. And we're going to have it run this function on click called handle click. And you can see because of these curly braces, we're saying that it's JavaScript now. And now that we are telling it to handle click, we have to define what that handle click function is. So we have const handle click equals parentheses, arrow, curly braces, there we are. And in our handle click, we are going to run the set number. And what we're going to do is iterate that number by 1. What this code is doing, every time that button clicks, it's going to run this handle click function, update that number by 1, and then it's going to pass this number directly to our header and show what that update is. And here's a React app, click me, +1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And although it's incredibly simple, what's happening here is magical. We're pressing something, it's updating the state. That state is effortlessly passed to our DOM with this little code. And that's the magic of React, these seamless updates to our DOM without much code at all, without much effort. And when you scale this out across a whole project, it becomes a much more pleasurable way to build applications rather than using our vanilla HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So this has been our first React tutorial. Hopefully this wasn't too confusing. And if you enjoyed the content, please like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos. Thank you very much.